I think it's more about society. Like they have made like software engineering and like working on this seems so like something that only smart people like the smarts they only go in software. They only do this. So like the hard work kind of get sidelined.
in general, and all the stories of all the suicides being in the electrical department are always there.
Like this is a very academically challenging branch, I would say. So like there are some times when you get overwhelmed.
I feel it's all maths, and there hasn't been like a moment of practicality.
So like 11 o'clock there's a curfew, like you have to go out the late. The guards came, they made us go away, but they did not disturb the curfew.
My express reasons for coming to KGP were, and I quote verbatim, good weather and good food. And those are the exact things that KGP is terrible at.
2600 years ago, a Greek shepherd had observed that amber, when rubbed with fur, could attract light objects. What the shepherd didn't know that his curiosity will allow us to transport and use power in a way which would have been alien for him. Lights which illuminate us, the cameras which record us, the phones and laptops which entertain us. Almost everything we look around have an incredible amount of electricity and circuitry. The power lines, the energy grids, and the microchips which power these computers are all miracles of engineering. But the fact is, it took 2400 for these things to even start being made. As Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. And electricity and magnetism tend to be governed by incredibly complex equations, and the signals we send using them, from your grandpa's radio to the modern internet, are incredibly convoluted. The circuits connecting software and hardware are impenetrable. All this involves a combination of math, physics, computers, chemistry, making electrical engineering one of the most demanding courses. But is this effort even worth it? For a course which is often considered the second prize to computer science. With us, we have Siddharth Shreejith and Onjal Kathod, who are pursuing electronics and communication and electrical engineering, respectively, at IIT Kharagpur. Welcome to Don't Just Take Computer Science podcast. Let's begin with the first question. When did you first decide to take electrical engineering or electrics and communication, and what drew you into this branch?
So like midway through 11th, I was looking for a realistic goal. Like if I'm gonna give advance, so like what can I expect? So I was hoping for circuital branches in the like top seven IITs. Uh, and after like midway to 12th, I started actually looking into it. Like what is the syllabus? What is gonna happen in the future for that? IIT Kharagpur recently changed the curriculum, so I found it interesting. The electrical engineering, like it has a good amount of tech and core both. So that's what made me put electrical engineering.
What about you?
So for me, ever since I was small, I had like an interest for, I guess, robotics, like things made out of circuits and like making them move, and I was fascinated by that. So then, after 11th and 12th, after all of my JE was done, when I had to select a branch, I was initially thinking I wanted something like electrical or ECE or something which is more towards, like electronics and things like that. And I mean, the thing that was competing against this was MNC. And like ultimately, I just asked a few of my teachers, and then they're like, okay, fine, MNC has more scope or whatever, whatever. But then finally, I decided I should follow whatever I like. I think I like. And so I was like, okay, I don't know a lot of ECEs, but still, I think I will like this branch, and so I decided it.
Okay. I'll address this question to Siddharth. Siddharth, you wrote a white paper about statistical arbitrage with Anushka Sharma, who's a sophomore at KGP. What is a white paper, and what is a statistical arbitrage, and why does this matter? Or-
So, coming to what a white paper is, right? So, what a white paper is, it's basically what you do is, it's basically a collection of, it's basically like this collage of information that you've gathered about a topic. So, the topic I wrote this white paper about was statistical arbitrage. So, what I did was I went and I studied stats for quite a long time, and after that, looked into statistical arbitrage practices, things that people do in statistical arbitrage, and like finally, what how you could use this, right? So what statistical arbitrage basically is, right? So like if you know the stock market, right, it's a very volatile place. right? Prices of things can go up and down depending on how people think of it. That's actually a very interesting way to sort of like cheese this system, which sort of works in some situations. Which is, if you take a look at the stocks of Pepsi and Coca-Cola, you can almost always guarantee that if one of them goes up, the other one also goes up. Right. So the idea of statistical arbitrage, or at least what I focused on was something called pairs trading, is if you were able to somehow get one stock and then sell the other one, you basically have zero net value, quote unquote zero net value. But now the interesting thing is that no matter what happens in the market, your this portfolio will have the same value, which means you can sort of abuse the fact that you just have a stationary portfolio which generates no money, which means when the portfolio, let's say for some random reason goes up, you make money. When it goes down, you sell it, you also make money. So the idea is you can use a sort of like trend in the fact that things that are similar go together to sort of abuse it and like sort of make money from this. And that's what statistical arbitrage is.
Okay, so I think that's similar to the arbitrage where the like a stock is listed on two different markets, and if it goes up in one market, it will go up in the other market as well. And some company with the lack of time buy it on the other market, right? So we are
Yeah,
doing that with
except this
two
one
stocks.
has a little bit more risk because again, you don't know if the two stocks will align. In the case of standard arbitrage, it's completely risk free because if it hasn't been so, if it's not at the same price, you can make a profit. Here, you're not entirely sure, but yeah.
Okay. Uh, at this point, also another question which a lot of people had suggested to me was when I was asking other people for this panel, a lot of people told me that EE and EC are vastly different subjects, and one is superior to the other. How are they different, and like is the difference very profound?
I actually think this is a hard question to answer, and it depends purely on college. Because if you look at colleges where they only have electrical, right? I think in those colleges, like whatever you get taught in electrical will consist of a lot of things that are already taught in ECE and EE, like in Kharagpur or something. But even in colleges where there is a distinction, I don't think the distinction is too big. Which is that okay, ECE certainly focuses on a lot of extra things in terms of communication, and electrical focuses on a lot of power management things, but a lot of the core theory itself is the same. So while I do agree that there will be like some differences, I don't think the differences are like too huge because again, yes, most of the syllabus is somewhat the same.
Yeah, like especially like for like academic purposes, I think it's pretty much the same concept. Like you're using it differently. Electrical focusing on like power grids and all that, whereas EC they go like for chips and all. So like same thing but different. Like maybe in career paths you find a bit difference, but I don't think there's a lot.
And again, in terms of like the superiority, I think the reason there is a superiority is again just purely due to the fact that one is higher than the other one in rank. So like that happens in other branches too, right? Like I could have taken maybe EE in like another IIT, and then that would automatically be better, even though I wouldn't have studied anything extra or something like that. So that is also an effect that we have to talk about and think about.
Okay. What are you both in general planning to do after finishing BTech? And what are the options in general for people doing electrical or EC?
Well, right now I am more to the tech side. Like I'm trying to get my hands dirty in some things, like especially in this vacation. So, but for electrical, like I feel that for core, like there are power engineers and all. So you can go to core. That is also a big thing. And even in tech, I feel circuital branches have a great scope.
I mean, currently, I don't really know what I want to do with after college. It could be a lot of things. I ultimately know that I want to go into something which is sort of like tech based and which sort of has this extensive amount of like problem solving and trying to think. But then, other than that, I don't think there's anything very specific. At least the thing about the EC department so far, as I feel, is that it's very like abstract and so can be used in a lot of places. Like I can see myself in a situation where like I may end up not doing like core ECE but doing something related to it in like computer vision or maybe something like artificial intelligence, but then all of it is related so you can sort of connect to it. And I think in terms of core ECE jobs, there's a lot of jobs in terms of like VLSI, microwave engineering, like a lot of chip design that is a very big booming industry. Semiconductors also is a very big booming industry, so a lot of opportunities there.
Okay. As we also talked about abstractions, I was recently doing a martingale's coach by Professor Rajiva, who was the former director of CMI and is head chair of National Statistical Commission. Overall great guy. Anyways, like he had commented that a lot of famous probabilists were electrical engineers and then had switched to probability. So, is there a reason why electrical engineers tend to be attracted to probability, or I have also seen some real analysts be electrical engineers. So, is there some pipeline there?
I think something very interesting about a lot of electrical engineers and in general is the fact that electrical engineering itself as a branch really boomed during the 50s. So this was the time when there was a lot of new tech. The Cold War was coming up, both sides, USA, Russia, they were both like coming up and like trying to build as big of technology as possible, right? And so you have a lot of great people coming in, such as Cloud Shannon, a lot of new branches of mathematics being formed, and all of this, the main application of this was to be used in like communication and things like that. So what ended up happening is that during the 50s you had this massive boom of opportunities for electronics in general, and so because of that a lot of immense mathematics was needed in this branch. And very specifically about probability and statistics, I think the reason is because, again, when you're dealing with a lot of like electrical circuits, communications, right, a lot of it deals with, has the signal reached there, are we guaranteed to have it there? So understanding probability is very important. And again, the branch itself is something which is very abstract, so a lot of people find it like very interesting to switch over to other sides if they do not like electrical engineering, or like start from a mathematician and then go into electrical engineering. If you think about it, it's a pretty new field.
Like I feel even in the curriculum, like it does like involve a lot of maths. You can say probability and statistics for linear circuits, like even Laplace, Fourier, and also like you are introduced to maths there, and like if you like it, I feel many of them they go to that direction after. Yes.
Okay. Onjal, I was informed that you want to kill all the professors. Why? What went wrong? And what is the story behind this statement I was told?
This is see, I don't remember saying this. Yeah, I know the full source. Uh, maybe like there are some times where like this is a very academically challenging branch, I would say. So like there are some times when you get overwhelmed. So
From the academic challenging point of view, like the syllabus is known to be insane with these branches. Like there's a lot of coding and CF stuff. There's physics, there's material science and chemistry, and there's also math. So how do people manage all this? And is it as scary as people make it out to be?
I guess, yeah, this is certainly true because, like, if you look at Kharagpur itself, right, EC and EE are renowned for being like the toughest branches in general, and like all the stories of all the suicides being in the electrical department are always there. But yeah, I would agree that the syllabus is very tough. But I don't think just saying that it has physics, it has maths, it has material science is doing it justice, because when you say it like that, it looks very scary. Because ultimately, you're not like mastering every aspect of it. Like maybe one time you're studying about semiconductors, maybe one time you're studying about Fourier series, maybe one time you're studying about information theory. So yeah, I think there's a lot to study, but I don't think just saying that, okay, there is CS in this, there is physics in this, sort of gives it justice, because all the topics are like enough, like all the topics are different and unique by themselves, but I don't think you need to go very deep into those kinds of topics. So yeah, it is a very challenging branch, but then I don't feel like it incorporates everything also.
Mm,
and
okay.
like saying that it has all of this is like I would say it's one of the good things about the department. Like you get to know a lot of stuff. Like would be really difficult to do one thing for this. It's like very vague, and it is difficult. But like I am not sure about like the propaganda of like electrical being a suicide hub and all the thing. I think it can be interesting like if you wanna learn.
Okay. Uh, this is another thing I was told, that EE and EC are almost treated like silver medals. A lot of people say I'll take EE or EC and then switch to CF later. Thoughts on this mindset?
I mean, yeah, I guess in society it's like either CS or nothing. Like, to be fair, in Indian society, it's only software engineer or nothing else. I don't think it's a very positive mindset, because if you look at like other countries, right? If you're a good engineer, no matter what your branch is, you're well paid and then you're well respected because you actually know your job. The problem in India is the fact that we sort of put engineers in this benchmark, that you must either be a, like, if you ever tell somebody that you're a civil engineer, they automatically think, okay, this person is a civil engineer because he couldn't get a high enough rank, and that's why he's, we should give him a job which doesn't pay him well. Whereas if you look at foreign places, right, civil engineers are paid enormously well because they're like the only people who know actually how to build buildings and make sure they don't fall, right? So a lot of it is perception. And in terms of the silver medal thing, I would say that is very certainly true, especially in something like an IIT where rank matters so badly and people fight for it so badly. So yeah, I definitely do think this is very much true there, and like it's sort of seen as a silver medal. I wish it did not happen, but I guess that's how reality is.
Like for this, it depends on what you want. Like for CS, like I was never like leaning towards like taking just computer science, but yeah, I guess it's true. Like even when you say that you're an engineer, people assume you're like in computer science. Like that society, I guess.
Okay. Whatever difference between what electrical engineers actually do and what people assume you guys do. Because like I have one of my cousins is in electrical, and someone once told him ki if you don't even know how to fix a fan, what kind of electrical engineer are you? Like,
Yeah, I think that's a running joke. Like electricians and electrical engineers, they do that mostly. Like you work in like factories, like you set up like transmission lines and all, like power generation, transmission, and all that. Like I don't think like working how to fix a fan and all that does include is included in electrical engineering. That I think is a running joke. And
I think one of the most funniest things about our EC course so far is the fact that I feel it's all maths and there hasn't been like a moment of practicality. I mean, we do build circuits, but then when you think of like a car or like your TV or your remote or something, and you look inside all the electronics, and like, wow. And then like you go to the EC and you actually study EC, and it's just maths and Fourier transforms, and like, I don't know what not is happening in the mathematics there, but it's very theoretical. I think a lot of people sort of assume that once you go into this course, it's immediately, oh, you build this, you build that. But no, there is quite a bit of detail, quite a bit of mathematics behind everything.
okay. Uh, I'll address this one to Shreejit. Shreejit, I was told that you love 4D, space-time, and wormholes. That seems like a theoretical physics topic. So why not just take physics at that point? Also, we had a physics panel a few days ago, and they had commented that we are not seeing much work on wormholes nowadays. We are yet to find a wormhole, and it seems like a hope game, with the theoretical stuff almost done. Any comments?
To be fair, right, the thing is, I don't see, my understanding of theoretical physics is enough for me to like fanboy over it, but not enough for me to actually understand it. So like theoretical physics is currently out of the window for me because I'm not like, I can, say like four dimensional wormholes, all of those things are cool, but I can't really like physically say, oh, we finally found like this one particle which may prove it or something. I'm not that into that. And again, the reason I chose physics, the reason I didn't choose physics over EC was because, again, I sort of already saw practicality in EC with like the things I used to build and all. And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll choose this. Also because of all the societal stigma, which is simply the fact that, again, choosing physics in such a place, you're sort of branded as, okay, fine, this person did not get enough, like good enough, a good enough rank or something. I wouldn't say I'm somebody who like, completely sticks out to society and like I'll choose whatever I like to choose. There's also some level of practicality. So that's also one of the reasons why I didn't exactly choose physics.
Okay. Uh, Again, an open question to the entire panel. We keep hearing about a chip shortage and that hardware is crucial and all, but most Indian startups and companies seem to be highly focused on the software side of things. What, again, like, is this just a societal thing or are there more things involved?
Actually, the chip issue is a very, very large issue in my opinion because, like, not even from a perspective of just engineering, but from the perspective from like a whole geopolitical perspective. Because correct me if I'm wrong on this, but then as far as I know, like Taiwan is one of like the biggest exporters of semiconductor devices, and like there are issues with places that produce semiconductors. So this is like a very big issue. But again, yeah, like us Indian engineers mostly focus on the software itself without worrying about hardware. And The thing is, so far, like if you look at the rate at which like technology has been growing due to like Moore's law and things like that, people sort of assume that software is the only thing you need to push in, even though we are clearly reaching areas where like the hardware is what is being constrained more as time goes on. So I think it is a concern that we Indians aren't really looking upon. We're still again building a lot of startups purely based on just software.
I think it's more about society. Like they have made like software engineering and like working on this seems so like something that only smart people, well, like the smartest, they only go in software. They only do this. So like the hard would kind of get sidelined and looked down upon a little bit.
Okay. Uh, okay, I'll address this one to Onjal. I have also told that you make a lot of memes. And while engineering memes are an entire subculture in itself, do you think memes and humors help you survive the engineering courses? Can you also recall your
Well,
best memes?
I'm hoping it does help me survive, especially with the reputation of this department.
Okay.
Uh, like I mostly do this with my friends, like in classes and all. Like I'll click a picture, put some caption behind it.
Have anyone ever been very offended at a meme you made of them?
Not really. I don't do it with people I'm not sure about. Like, and if I am not sure about this, and I know that that person might be offended, so I just keep it with myself. I'll not share it.
Okay.
So I have a lot of like saved memes that I haven't shared yet. Maybe one day they'll get it.
Okay. Interesting. Uh, okay. Also, another question: if, as you both are IITians, I will ask two typical questions. No, very typical ones. Does ragging, intro, or hazing, whatever we call it, still happen?
Me personally, I don't think I have had that experience yet.
Same thing. I don't think first years in KGP are like, uh, undergo ragging. Though I have heard that second years go to it to like some degree, but like it's hidden and like, so I don't really think there's a lot of ragging in our college as such.
Okay. So there's some like first years don't go through it. Like if it's somehow like they don't allow first years to come in contact with the seniors easily or something like
No,
I'd
it's
say
not
actually
like that. Especially in societies, you are in contact with a lot of seniors.
that. Okay.
I'd say that there's like a very interesting power dynamic where I feel like there is like the first years have more power over anybody else in the college in the fact that you don't really face consequences for any of your actions. But then immediately as you go to the second year, you're like at the bottom tier, and then you slowly climb your way up third year and fourth year. So like first years, you sort of like this have this dynamic that if somebody else messes with you, they can be in a lot of trouble for messing with you.
Okay. That's interesting because like I had spoken to a few Dhanbad people, and I like Dhanbad have lot like the ragging culture is still there. Like I think first they made an entire WhatsApp group before they joined the college, and the group was horrendous. I'm not going into exactly how I know this, but it was horrendous.
I've been to Guwahati also, and then I've heard some like very interesting stories about like how bad the ragging is. Like they have a 2 month period there, and then immediately after that, like everybody starts ragging the juniors.
Okay. Anyway, one second very cliche question: how is the love life at IIT? The person who is the source for a lot of information about you all have told me a lot of wild stories of what people keep doing in the college. And second, do these things affect academics of the people involved?
Okay, so I guess I'll start off with this. So, yes, things are very wild in IITs, to the point where I don't think the guards. So the guards are very interesting because, like, so I'll just tell you what happens outside the girls' hall, right? There'll just be like a guard standing there for like security, and then you have like a bunch of girls next to the hall with guys doing sus stuff, like right next to the guards, and the guards just have to deal with it all day. PD is very common in IITs. In general, I do not think it affects academics because I've seen a lot of successful people who have good relationships in college as well. Unfortunately, I do not attest to that myself, being an unfortunate person. But yeah,
Okay.
especially like I think a couple of months in KGP, I'd been to the lake and like there are benches there and there were couples doing such stuff and like I was with a group of my friends and all. So like 11 o'clock there's a curfew, like you have to go out the lake. The guards came, they made us go away, but they did not disturb the couple. Like I think it's pretty common here. So,
This is a very weird thing, but then whenever I'm like cycling at night with a friend or something, we always have to be aware of the fact that there may be like a few unwanted things in the bushes. I sort of, I think I've started to fear like people in like unlit roads more than like some sort of like angry animal or something in the bush.
Okay, coming back to the topic at hand, as if electrical and ECE, what kind of people tend to enjoy the branch? Like people who enjoy, what kind of people would enjoy?
Again, I think the type of people who would enjoy this would again be people who sort of like sort of semi-rigorous maths, where like the math is not very rigorous, but still to a level of you're constructing your own world. It sort of feels like you're making things up as you're going on. And so I think it's very mathematical and like a very like you sort of create this sort of system. You create this, then you create this, and you create this. So I think a lot of people who enjoy maths will certainly enjoy this course. Like I feel like if you go in there with a lot of curiosity, you will certainly like enjoy this course and succeed in it.
especially people like who want to build from like theory to practical. Like you work out the maths and then like you build things. So like people who are interested in that, like I think this is the course.
Okay. Uh, Secondly, if you had to convince a 12-year-old that why does electrical engineer need to be a thing, what would you tell them?
Like very simple argument, your entire life so far has probably been spent on a phone or a TV or something. How do you think that device works? How do you think any device that you use in your modern life ever works? Which person makes this? Which person is actually like figuring out what to do when one of these things fails? That is us engineers. So that's why it's important.
Mm, and if someone is considering electrical only for money and job security, what would both of you tell them?
This has like this branch does have a bit of security. Even like core, there are many things you can do. Tech, there are some people who go for higher studies. So I think this will be all right. Like if you're doing it just for job and like financial security, I think you can do this. So,
Okay. Siddharth, do you want to add anything?
Nothing much. I
it'll
mean, like, is electrical and EC, as you told, is sort of seen as a silver medal. So it is good enough. I'd say it is a very secure job actually going into this.
Okay.
it'll be difficult to survive those 4 years just for that. Though, like I hope you do have at least a little bit of interest in that.
Okay. And finally, if someone is considering taking electrical or ECE, what is something they should like? Whatever book they should read or something they should watch or try before choosing definitely. Okay, so
I think I'll just give like an very impromptu answer. I don't really have a good answer to this, but then if you want to like sort of if you're willing, if you sort of want to get into this field, what I'd suggest doing, right, is sort of seeing the things that make electrical and ECE, right, which is go up, look up some YouTube channels about how like power transformers work, or like just search up some videos about like how does your like how do battery recharging work, or like how does like a remote or something like that work, right? If things like that sort of get you interested, right, then maybe it's a good branch to go into. Because like if it gives you that intuitive feel of this is interesting enough for me to pursue, then yeah. Because again, curiosity is what you're going to be needing through these 4 years. Like you need to actually look at and study the course material. You can't just escape it. So if it's something that gives you curiosity and like you search up about these things, and if it interests you, that's what I'd say. That's probably the best thing to do.
Well, I was gonna say the same thing. Like YouTube and especially like visual thing that actually shows the inside and how it works. So if you're interested in that or like you think you can be, so I would suggest this. Yeah.
okay. And finally, we'll
Books, I
end this.
feel like before that it'll be too much and like I think they'll get bored if they start with books.
Also, I don't really think there's a good way to condense 4 years of information into like one book. So yeah,
Agreeable. Okay, we'll just do a rapid fire to end this. Coffee or tea?
tea,
Coffee.
Favorite food?
probably biryani,
Misal pav.
Okay. Sports or web series?
web series.
What?
Watching sports or watching web series?
Web series.
Okay. Best professor till now?
Atul Jain.
What did he teach, by the way?
Uh, Basic engineering mechanics.
Okay. Siddharth?
Ritvik Layak. First sem he was one of our lab prof like assistants. Second sem he actually taught us, and that was he taught us signals and systems.
Uh, Worst professor till now? Don't answer.
This is very clear for me. Second semester, Vivek Dikshit, semiconductor devices. I did not like that. I did not like that course. It was just material science.
Okay. Onjal?
I would rather not say in case they come back again and teach me another course.
Okay. Favorite subject you didn't expect to like? Favorite course?
I'd say for me it'll be electromagnetic engineering. I thought it'll just be like boring physics, but then it was actually kind of interesting.
For me, I even basic electronics was not like I expected it me to be like bored like halfway through the first lecture and all. But it turned out to be all right. Like I think it's interesting.
More painful, Viva or lab?
Why? I can't do that.
I have bad experiences from both. I'd still put lab version of Viva because labs things can go unexpectedly wrong. Viva, at least like if things go wrong, you have your mouth to sort of control the situation.
Okay. Uh, One unexpected job someone in EE or ECE could end up in.
What do you exactly mean by this? Because they could literally become anybody, right? Like I could say some, I don't know, like painter or something, and then that would technically be true.
Okay, I'll accept that as an answer. The physics panel, I think, ended up with musician.
I want to say a really sus answer, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say that. If it is that stuff, I'll just cut it out at the edit.
I think you know what I mean. Okay, it's fine. Like,
I probably will cut that out.
yeah, fair.
Yeah. Okay. Most unexpected.
No, he said painter and like I do art, so like let's hope that's me.
Okay. What was the worst advice you got during the JOFA counseling when filling the thing for?
uh, like I didn't have a lot of like especially like nearby I don't have a lot of people who did go through this, so I had no clue what to do. Like even till, like I think 2 hours before like you have to lock your list down, like before 2 hours on also I was changing the list, like I didn't add new branches and all, but I was like shifting priorities.
Okay.
I don't know where I got this advice. It's probably a mix of people telling me something and my brain understanding something else. But my express reasons for coming to KGP were, and I quote verbatim, good weather and good food. And those are the exact things that KGP is terrible at. So I don't know how I came to this college, like what metrics I use, but yeah,
Okay.
Why would you even think good food?
I don't know why. I was like, yeah, fish. I'm from Kerala. This is gonna be interesting. We eat a lot of fish regularly, so I'm like, this is gonna be nice, and like, it sucks.
Okay. What would you reply to people? Electricians also know how to make devices. What is your degree even worth?
Wait, what do you mean? Electricians also know how to make devices? Is that what? When was the last time you saw an electrician making an, I don't know, something or the other? I genuinely cannot think of an electrician who has come and like physically given you a new TV remote he's constructed.
Okay. Uh, if you could delete one subject from ECE curriculum forever, if even if you have not taken it yet, what would it be?
Uh, I want to say network, but like it's one of the very core subjects. I'm not sure how it would go without it.
I know this is gonna like probably cost a lot for us because this is one of the most growing fields or whatever. But I just remove like semiconductor science or whatever, like whichever course is the most tanky among semiconductors because it's all material science and I absolutely hate it.
Okay. And okay, if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
It's fun. This is the question like we both don't have an answer to.
Okay, dinner, no dinner with anyone. Okay, great. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cheesy
I
answer.
think
I'd have dinner with you, Arjun.
God no. Why would you? Why would you? You don't even know me that well.
yeah, I'll take
Precisely,
your
we can know
source
each
out
other
to
better.
dinner.
Okay. Uh, okay. EEC in one word.
Could you repeat that?
Electrical engineering in one word.
I mean, to be fair, if I had to summarize it, I would just say pain because that is what most people get out of this experience.
I wanna say tiring, but I don't think that's good PR.
Okay. Any final words of advice you would like to give to people who are considering electrical or people who are not considering electrical and trying to convince them? Whatever.
Uh, like I said, watch the videos, see if it interests you. Do not take it just for job security and all. Like these 4 years would be hell if you're not interested in the subject.
And well, majority of the people want to take CS. Again, question if you want to take CS. And more importantly, it's a very like open-ended branch, very mathematical, very practical. Even if you want to switch to something, it's pretty good. Check out the syllabus. If it interests you, if you're interested in maths, you don't, you then might not take CS. You might end up actually taking this and enjoying this a lot more.
Okay. So that thank you both for being here. This ended much faster than I expected it to end, which means less editing for me. Anyways, thanks for your time.